Everybody, welcome back to the Quantum Show. How's it going? Heck of a day, heck of a week, and I decided to revisit a topic that I've covered before, the residents. Now, these are the residents of the categories of one type of categories, one type of style of categories of the aliens that are here. Clip that. That's another thing. Um, Thank you. Sounds good. Awesome. What's up, Renee? What's up? Operation Shutdown. Aussie. Let me go through the chat. And I got a shutdown messenger right now. I think I missed your last message, Sarah. Raven. I know I saw other people in here. Renee was in here earlier, I believe. Aussie, Tim, John. I think I got almost. I think maybe Dorothy's here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I got everybody for the moment. All right, cool. Well, anyway, that's a new feature that StreamYard is doing where you say clip that to where it will look for the most recent, like 30 seconds of what you're talking. Well, I've been on for only 2 minutes, so it won't have to look far, but it's for the shorts. Anyway, editing stuff. I have a topic. Holy cow, the residents. The residents are the ones that stay here for whatever reason. We don't know, but I've seen them. Shingoji's seen them. Raven's seen them. I believe we've all seen them. And it's the type of people that they're not right, but you get this thing in your head where you don't want to be rude, you don't want to stare. That's your telltale sign where that message, that ethic of don't stare, it's rude, is very strong. Okay. Now, the categories of encounters are contact, okay, accidental in public, of encounter contact, right? Accidentally in public, where we see them interacting in a public setting. I've seen them several times, meaning 3 times, 3 or 4 times. We've all seen them. Abductions, whether they're good or bad, you get taken by not your choice. And then you have the ones that communicate, the starseeds, the ones that just talk, okay, when they get messages, downloads, things like that. That is also ET contact, all right? So those are the general categories. Clip that. God, it's going to be interesting to say that. And I have a lot to cover tonight. These are 2 stapled packets of paper over the residents because what I did was I looked at my old show and I looked at all the ufology shows that are pertinent to this. And there's a lot to go over because there's a lot of footnoting that has to be explained. All right. Now, I'm going to talk about, let me see here. What do they do to live here, right? And they're going to be observers, participants, knowing or unknowing. They may be here on some sort of fact finding reason, right? I'm not going to say mission because mission implies they're being told to come here by somebody else. And I don't want to say that, right? So now you got the ones that live here, like Shingoji and I saw this tall gold person at Kroger. I'm talking like 7 foot tall. Apparently a woman, and we couldn't tell if it was a man or woman. And everybody had this thing, don't stare, it's rude. Everybody. I'm talking a store that's more popular than Walmart, okay? At least in this town. Now you got the visitors, which they live here. They exist here. We don't know too much about them, but they come in and they fold in and out of society in groups, activities, places. Then they go away and we don't ever think about them again until we see them the next time. And then we may or may not be able to remember the last time we saw them. Then you got like transients, right? The ones that come and go. They're either here for the cows, here to talk to certain people, to do whatever they got, and then they leave, right? They're not here. Tourists. Some of them are here. Tourists. The tourist, right? And then you have intermittent contact. And those are the callers, the communicators, the ones that they either use mental telepathy. Mental means telepathy, some kind of psychic thing, or like Angeli, they take her whole soul, I don't know, over to the cave. Okay. So that's yeah. Okay. The ones that walk among us, sky people, here but not here. I've said that a lot. And that is something that needs to be explained. They are here but not here. The Native Americans say that about Bigfoot. They say that about the people of Mount Shasta. Yeah, the people of Mount Shasta. That's a big one right there. Okay. Links in description. I hope they all made it through. And we'll see. Right. Okay. So a lot of people want to say the word multidimensional. That doesn't really work. That's a pop culture term. Okay. It doesn't really work for what we're talking about. Because if you look for multidimensional, you're looking at time travelers. Your research is going to fall flat when you're using your instincts and stuff, because that's the other dimension. That's the next dimension that we have access to. We're traveling through it right now. More like phase shifted. Okay. Like red, like light, when it goes over great distances, you've heard of red shift. It shifts from one to another. We see it as red, right? It comes through as red. Now, that's what one of these big things are, okay? It is, my interpretation is a frequency state or vibrational state, right? There's, I'm just going to read this. This is the idea that reality has layers of energetic density and beings can exist at a frequency band that overlaps ours but does not interact with it directly. Here but not here. Okay. Sometimes these are described aliens as higher frequency biologicals, subtle matter or light matter. Okay. We're not talking the states of matter that we can see around us. Gas, gas, solid, energy, plasma. Okay. And we can raise our, Tim, you know about this. We can change our vibrational state up here. Not all of it, right? This won't work in a different state, right? It's like a fish out of water or a human in water. It's not going to work very well. I'm talking mushroom coffee, okay? Things that DMT, all the mind altering LSD. There's a show in itself. I'm not going to cover it because I have no empirical knowledge on that. But when we raise or lower our vibrational state or match that of the other that we're trying to talk to, tune in, if you will. Okay. And it's more of a resonance event, not residence, resonance, and not a physical one. We can communicate, but then again, matter is energy. So if we take ourselves, transfer it to energy, okay, we're taking the energy self, higher self, maybe, I don't know, astral projection, maybe, and doing and communicating over there with them on the higher, lower, whatever, and bringing that knowledge back. But that seems physically impossible. And yet we're doing all this stuff all the time. Like Tim is saying, Buddhists change their frequencies all the time. I have been able to not be seen. I called it blur. Okay. I was able, when I was practicing Buddhism, I was able to blur myself by taking myself a little bit out of vibration with just the right here, but still me be right here, where people would see somebody, but they didn't see any features. They couldn't recognize me if they saw me again. It's very interesting. It was very interesting. Aussie is reminding me, please like, subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. If you're here, you're quantum. Oh, yeah. And yeah, it is some intense stuff. Buddhist meditation. Okay. And they're here, but phase shifted. Okay. Here, but not here. They're here, but phase shifted out of our perceptual bandwidth. To, like, when you're listening to the radio station 88.5, you're not listening to 105.9. It's the same radio. Why can't you hear both at the same time? Because they're on different frequencies. The energy being put out. I try to find more on this, and it is so deep in quantum physics, yo. Okay, I will try to tell you about it, but we will see. Okay, phase state physics. The scientific analogy. Now, this is not in the description, but I have it here. It will be later. Documents will be available if you want them. I've got them all saved. Okay. Two radios broadcasting in the same room, but two laser beams crossing without interacting, right? Quantum states that occupy the same space but don't interfere. Okay, in this analogy, aliens aren't from another dimension, misnomer. They're from a different phase of the same space-time. A parallel, right? And it says here, it used the word brain, B-R-A-N-E. Please don't quote me on that. If anybody wants to look up that and put it in there, please do, right? Okay, in this analogy, like a shifted quantum vacuum state. See what I tell you? Deep in quantum physics, right? A region of space-time with different symmetry. I'm not going to describe that. It is a dissertation. You're on your own. Go. Be quantum. This is why interdimensional is a misnomer. It's not another dimensional. It's another configuration of this one. Clip that. Okay. Now, there's an experimental model of this, right? Consciousness-based coexistence. This is the one experiencers describe most consistently. Aliens exist in a conscious, accessible layer of reality. They can step in when the witness is in the receptive state. They are not invisible. They are non-local, here but not here. Okay? On a different phase shift of reality frequency. We're not on their channel. They're not on ours. They appear when the observer's perception aligns with their mode of being. So we have to tune into them. I have done this. It is crazy cool. Very cool. Now, that's why encounters happen during things like sleep paralysis. We are taken, one doesn't line up with the other. Now, that's a physical trait, okay? But sleep paralysis, meditation, Tim said it, trauma, who here has not been there, right? Liminal states, now that's a funny one. That's a really cool one. We've talked about liminal states before. Back rooms, bridges, walking through a door, inducing a liminal state. And it says here, high strangeness moments. What does that mean? It doesn't go into detail of that. They're adjacent, and contact is a shift in awareness. So we have to tune into them, or they have to tune in us. And apparently, it's easier for us to tune into them because we don't see aliens all over the place. We see them when we go looking. But do they see humans all over the place? Are we ghosts to them? when someone has a chance encounter, do they, on the other side, do they see us as a random human walking through a space station? Is that what's going on? Okay, I said space station. Clip that. Interdimensional is a placeholder word because we don't have a better one. We really don't. Because no one's going to understand phase shifted. When you say it in pop culture, they'd rather, we're talking about the people who watch like Transformers and G.I. Joe. Love those things. But they're not steeped in science fact. They use buzzwords like that. Okay. And another terms for this stuff, right? Phase shifted beings, co-located intelligences, adjacent reality entities, frequency state life forms, subtle matter resonance, non-local biologicals, crypto-terrestrials in a different vibrational band. And here we are, right back to Bigfoot. Clip that. It's so weird. Okay. They're here, but not tuned in our channel. Now, yeah, I should have proofread a lot of this stuff. Okay, let me just start reading a little bit, right? Now, co-located but phase-shifted existence, meaning they occupy the same physical space, but not the same state, frequency, or phase of reality. Vibrational frequency state. This is my interpretation. Yeah, I went over this already. Okay. So, yeah. Interdimensional is a placeholder word because we don't have a better one. The more accurate terms people use in serious circles are phase shifted beings, co-located intelligence, adjacent reality entities, frequency state life forms, subtle matter resonance, non-local biologicals, crypto-terrestrials in a different vibrational band. Bigfoot. Clip that. Okay, I'm going to stop repeating myself now. Next point. Now, that's the here but not here. Well, we're here, right now. If you guys see somebody come in and go, hi, like an alien or mantis or ghost or I don't know, something that might look like a whatever, an android, let me know because I can't see them. Maybe the camera can pick something up. Okay. Now, the residents, they are here but not here, but they tend to stay here, right? They tend to be here and shift. I call it a shimmer. I don't call it mind tricks. I call it a shimmer. That's from Doctor Who, where they can affect the physical matter around them, the air, to make them look like it, like what you expect to see. Clip that. That's so weird. What's up, Ben Yorkshire Goofonian? Way to go, but getting here. Tonight's a banger, yo. Let me tell you, I'm talking about, I got paper. This is a paper show. Okay. But they're here. They use a shimmer. I call it a shimmer. That's from Doctor Who, where they use a kind of half technological, half mind trick, where they're using some kind of a device to tell you to see what you expect to see. It's very interesting because when I saw those guys in Indianapolis, I saw them at first. They looked blurry. Okay, they looked a little bit blurry. Like maybe blurry is not the word. There's nothing that I can compare it to. I want to say parts of them changed in front of me, like for a split second, and then they changed back. But then when I really looked at them using whatever this is, empathy, I saw them for how they really looked. And it was cool. Strange. They were not human. Okay. I've seen some really different looking humans. I've been fooled a couple times. I thought I saw a black-eyed child. It was not. It was not. It was Monty called me out on that one. It was not a black-eyed kid. It was not. It was a common birth defect. I forget what it was called. It was a syndrome where there is an extra a missing chromosome, and the body does its best to make up for it. Anyway, so I have now. Those are the ones I'm talking about, right? The residents, they use the shimmer, mind trick technology. Who knows? It seemed to be a mix of both. They might be wearing a watch like device, or a pendant, or a necklace, or what I say, a pendant, a pin, or a necklace. And it could be the physical element, the electronic, the technical element, but it's on a quantum operating way, not a physical one like electronics. So I don't know. That's a best guess, but you can see through it when you have your mind sharp, and mushroom coffee don't hurt. Okay. Yes, Monty, perception filter, also known as a shimmer. Perception filter, aka shimmer. Perception filter came along later. This is David Tennant's thing, is shimmer. Okay. Right. You remember that with the cactus people? Shimmer. And they turned into cactus people, the scientists. That one. Remember? Shimmer. But yeah, perception filter. Let me show that. Did I show that? I'm not sure if I showed that or not. Yes. Also known as shimmer in a different episode. So now those are those guys, right? Now, okay. The ones who walk among us, sky beings, hidden people, watchers, lots of people have this, right? What's up, Diane? I'm saying hello. There you go. Okay. I'm doing a heck of a show. So hold on to your seats. Get your mushroom coffee ready, because this is kind of a little bit of a deep dive for a 1 hour show, right? We all have, okay, a lot of places have that. The Aztecs, they say, we didn't build this. Someone before us built it. Now it dips into ancient technology, okay? Ancient civilizations. But also you've got wild men, feral humans. Are they the sky people? I don't think so. I think they're something else, right? Sky beings. Mount Shasta. Clip that. Mount Shasta. I wanted to cover Mount Shasta a little bit. Y-Files covered Mount Shasta. It is crazy over there. I want to go there. It's in Northern California. That's the only thing keeping me from going over there, because they won't let my car go over there. But Mount Shasta. People say aliens live there. Lizard people live there. There's portals. It's a volcano. Now, let me tell you, volcano. There you have a high energy conduit of some kind, right? It is so full of energy. It is so strong on just a few wavelengths that it seems to overpower the rest of the wavelengths. Because look at every weird sighting around a volcano. UFOs, orbs, things that people think are drones. I don't know of any drones that can survive 2,000, 3,000 degrees going right next to a volcano. Clip that. We'll see how that works. But that's a place that I wanted to bring up, right? And modern sightings imply familiarity rather than something brand new. Flying saucers, flying triangles, right? That's been seen for over 70 years. And we may be in a shared habitat. I do believe we are in a shared habitat, not only with here, but not here, out of phase people, underwater, underground. But then underground is also out of phase. Underwater is also out of phase. The underground. I've talked a little bit here and there. Anjali had her experience. I believe she was taken into a here but not here place. Okay. I think she was left on a rock, sitting on a rock or a stump or something. And then her astral self was taken down the cave. I don't and I don't think the cave is here. I think it's out of phase. Star Trek covered this. Okay. Now, uh maybe we shouldn't ask the question. Well, let's look at modern ufology, right? Not a lot of people are into it. You go to Walmart. I would love to do man on the street. Randomly go up to somebody in the produce section, or maybe not electronics. They're very likely to have aliens, right? But go to produce or women's wear. Just, it's Walmart, so be careful. It's a jungle in Walmart. And you got to be careful because people stab you there. But how long have they been here? Not whether they are here or not. Because most people are not ready for this. Okay. I'm sure you already know that most people just cannot fathom the idea of space people of any sort. Little grays, little green men, spider people, mantis people. Nobody can fathom that idea. It's too far from their reality. It makes their head spin, hurt, and a lot of times I've heard of people losing it after having an experience. Clip that. But some of us are. I would say 10% of us are really into this topic. I'm talking about 10% of humanity. The rest of them either don't think about it at all or think it's demons. Still not demons. Still not demons. I keep checking. It doesn't check out. No demons have spaceships. No demons. They don't have breeding programs, right? That's not demons. Demons don't do that. And when and why and how are we going to see them, right? Well, when is now, because sightings and encounters are getting more and more common. They're getting more and more frequent. So many people don't want to think about it, don't want to talk about it because they're afraid that they're going to be judged as crazy. Well, we need to get over that, okay? People need to get over that. No one's going to call you crazy now because you saw a UFO or met up with some other non-human creature in the street. Clip that. When I say clip that, it gives a signal to the AI running StreamYard to look at this time slot, go back a little bit, look for start of the idea, and use it as a short. So for y'all seeing coming in, yeah. Hearing me say that coming in, that's why I'm saying it, right? Okay. Now, motives and unknown agendas was the next segment that I come up with, right? What are they doing if they're here? Now, we have to observe what they're doing. We have to observe the effects. There's a lot, like, we don't see wind. This is the most basic example I can do to compare, right? We don't see wind, but we do see things getting blown around. We see leaves on the trees. We see curtains blowing, paper. You didn't see me. You saw the paper, right? Now, some of them, here's possible motivations, right? From the most human standpoint that I can think of, right? Observation. For what reason? Anthropological, ecological. Are we a science project? Is somebody reporting on us like I reported on, rodents in the 5th grade about, or small rodents, not all the rodents, huge amount of rodents, or looking at us like my 3rd grade project, beans. What's up with them? Beans. I don't think I managed to make beans very interesting in the 3rd grade. Okay. So, are we being studied for some reason? Stewardship. Are they guarding the area? I don't think so. I think we're the ones who are the densest here. That sounds really funny. Well, the humans are the most dense beings in the solar system, so let's give them Earth. Clip that. Dense. Okay. Are they researching biodomes, energy states, dimensionalities? This set of geometries? What are they doing? Are they seeing what can we make? We do that. We found a new state of ice inside a jet engine. It's a new it's so strange. I don't have a reference for it, but oh, we definitely are the best reality show in the galaxy. Clip that. So, what if we can get along with him, right? The prime directive, non interference principle. Why do they avoid contact? Why do they why are we being treated like we are? Why are there abductions? Why are there sightings but no contact? Why are there contact but no sightings? People say they wake up on a table. They see beings standing over them. Right? Whitley Strieber. That was one. I believe that was Whitley Strieber. Okay. And why would they avoid contact with us? I have a reason for that. We're the apex predator. Here on Earth, in this phase, we are the apex predator of this reality. They want to study us, they want to get to know us, but they don't want to get so close that we'll eat them like lions would. Clip that. Okay. Now I want to go over human interpretations, right? Myth, cultural bias. What do we look at? When we hear alien, are they are we it's inherent that we think not human, not us. Something that's very different than us. Little grays, tall whites, tall grays, mantis people, right? Bigfoot, Dogman, you name it, okay? The fairy realm people, gnomes, right? They are out there. I know we are. I know they are. We are too. We're out there and we get along. We avoid each other, or they avoid us. Okay. Unknown does not mean threat. Here's why. Predators in our animal kingdom that we know of. We know of sharks. We know of birds of prey. We know of wolves. How worried are we about sharks? They're there. They're in their own environment. We normally can't exist in that environment. So I'm not too worried about sharks. I'm more worried about cows. Okay. Cows weigh about 5 times as much as I do, and they are right down the road in the yard. Clip that. There's a meme out there. Fear the real killers because they're among us. Cows. And the silence in non-communication between them and us might not be hostility or something. It might be a boundary. Okay. It might be a setup, not necessarily set up by them, set up by us, but might be accepted. Like it's convenient that that gate is already there. I don't have to put one up there because I don't want you in my yard type thing. And if they've been here, what signs have we seen? Let's go over a few. Okay. Now, this is where I took all the notes. Recurring hotspots. Places, I'm talking places you can go. Cemeteries, graveyards. Those are straight up portal places. And we made them portal places. Humanity made them portal places using our inherent mystical abilities, our way to shape reality, and the fact that we put our people there who are ready to go to the other side. Cemeteries are portal places. Clip that. Other places you can go. I covered Mount Shasta. And then there's another one, Brown Mountain. Both very military. Brown Mountain was a military base, right? And then you've got Rob Schneider stumbled across some sort of deep underground military base that was not our military. And they engaged these guys. Shoot first, ask questions later. Shout out Keith Andrews. We shouldn't be doing that, right? We should go, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bust in on you like this. My bad. I don't think they would have shot if we hadn't shot first. According to his account, his guys, the special forces guys who didn't make it out, shot first. He shot first. They shot back, killed all of them but him and one other guy. And he came out maimed, lost part of his hand, got this big blast on him from being having a glancing blow, which was crazy. So that would be where was that? That was Dulce Base. Bill Schneider, Dulce Base. I believe I put a link in the description, but I'm not sure. That's an easy lookup, though. Now, deep oceans, USOs. Enter Graham Hancock. Okay, I know Graham Hancock is not all about the aliens. He's about former civilizations, but link is in the description, okay? I'm talking Yonaguni. I think it's Yonaguni monument. They call it a monument. It's a sunken city, guys, okay? The what is that called? I want to say that deep ocean anomaly they got found. It looks like the Millennium Falcon. I can't remember what it's called. If somebody knows it, please put it in the chat. I'll see it. And those are USOs, okay? Not necessarily USOs. Those are underwater environments. And I do believe that a lot of it was advanced human. But they're still active, okay? The what was that, Raven? You got to know this one. Tim, I know you know this one. What was that thing that looked like the Millennium Falcon? Yeah, he was on Ancient Aliens a lot, but they bring him in. He does not do aliens. They bring him in and they say things to him, say, yeah, it could happen. Yeah, that sounds good. He's not a ufologist, right? The Baltic Sea anomaly. Sorry. You go down there with electronic equipment, it still has some kind of radiation coming off of it that is causing their equipment to mess up. Why? What is working, right? What is working down there? And you can get strange pumapunku, okay? You can get strange magnetic readings all over the place. The stones are magnetically aligned, not to the poles. They got their own magnetic way of being. Okay, now again, desert regions, right? New Mexico and the Middle East. The Middle East, Mesopotamia, Iraq, holy cow. They got all that alien stuff, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't all alien. I believe it was hybrid. Okay, I believe not the people, the tech. I believe it was we were advanced, and then something happened to make us not advanced, and that's what was left over. Mesopotamia and Pumapunku and all the places that we talk about, right? Göbekli Tepe. Those were the things that were left over. All the things made of metal, dust. All the things made of things that were not stone, gone. Ground up, decayed, rotted, gone. Okay. And but the stone remains. That's why people build statues. It lasts. It is very stable in this vibrational environment. Clip that. Now, forested areas, national parks, much. Missing 411, shout out Stephen Polides, right? His name is Stephen Polides, right? Polides, missing 411. David Polides. Sorry, David. Sorry, David. Now, we have had repeated sightings in those types of locations for centuries. Okay. American Indians reported the sky people. They reported the forest men, the old, the first tribe, the first people, Bigfoot. And ancient Egypt has the dogmen. The dogmen, I think they are extra dimensional, but based on the reports, they seem to have some kind of a protocol. Okay. They do what they want to do. They don't mess with people too much. Neither does Bigfoot. They seem to have some kind of a protocol, they know better. But that means they're not animals. Okay. They have some kind of a reason. I've heard too many reports about Dogman and Bigfoot doing something, going out of their way not to interfere with humans, right? Right. David Polides, my bad. So, craft behavior that implies routine rather than exploration. Over and over. Ofne Montaña, Argentina. UFO Mountain in Argentina. It is a paranormal UFO hotspot. People go there to watch the UFOs come and go from the mountain. It's a tourist spot. It's an attraction. One of these days, I'd love to go to Argentina just for that, right? I've got a lot. I might not make it through an hour on this, right? Because the topic is the residents, and they live here. They just have a parking spot in Argentina, a big one, right? Now, beings blending into human environments. The duck blind hypothesis, right? Star Trek covered this. They seem to come into our society. I've seen like ones come out, go into the store, going to events that we put on. Comic-Con is a really weird one, okay? Now, it's really easy to get fooled at Comic-Con because the costumes are so good, but they're not shimmers. They're not perception filters. That's what I saw. The costumes were obviously costumes. I didn't think I saw Halo guy running around Master Chief and think, oh my God, it's really Master Chief. I'm pretty sure it isn't, right? It's a costume that guy put together very skillfully, or red versus blue teams, okay? So they use the duck blind, meaning they go back to a place, or they take the place with them, shimmer, perception filter, to be able to watch us, observe us, and do things, interact with us on limited small ways where we can process it without our heads short-circuiting or exploding. Clip that. I hope these clips work. Now, reports of entities appearing in mundane settings. Kroger, concerts, Comic-Cons. Yeah, that's it. There are hybrids among us, and they don't know they're hybrids. I've seen them everywhere I worked, and they don't know they're hybrids. They're not on a mission. They've been seeded from a long time ago. I'm 50. They've been here a lot longer than that. Okay? And I remember them ever since I was 4. That's when I hit my head, by the way. 4. We are at, the majority of the show, Aussie is reminding me and reminding everyone, good day, everybody. I can't do an Australian accent. I'm sorry. G'day, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're here, you're quantum. And that is for sure. So I saw recurringly this person come into Kroger. I think I saw him 3 times. Now, I don't know what happened, but they moved, everybody moved to East Tennessee, right? Or they were in East Tennessee. One of them was here. Can they be photographed? Shingoji has a good camera, okay? Shingoji lives over in East Tennessee, and there are some there. Every time he goes to take a picture, it refuses to function, okay? Every time he goes to, there's either nothing there, or the thing turns off, or it's white. It's just a blank screen. They don't want that to happen. And I don't know how they can tell what we're doing, how we're doing it, and when are we going to push the button, right? I don't understand that. But he's tried to get pictures of them. It can't happen. So I had a sighting, a UFO sighting, but I was driving on an interstate. I was on an exit ramp. You don't pull over on an exit ramp, not in downtown Nashville. There was no way for me to get over, no way for me to get these dancing lights in the sky going through some kind of a opening, okay? But that's what I saw. Now, and there are eyewitness accounts that imply long-term habitation, right? Again, UFO Mountain, Argentina. Brown Mountain. That is in the Blue Ridge Parkway, right? North Carolina. By the way, Blue Ridge Parkway is bigger than just North Carolina. Just that's where that one is, right? So, Brown Mountain Lights. Link is in the description, I believe, or will be later. It'll be on the document available. So, like I said, it's hard for us to remember. That's why when I have something happen, I try to record something immediately so I can remember. It's almost like a fading dream. You wake up from a dream, you want to tell everybody about it. By the time you wake up and get online and go to Twitter or whatever, you've forgotten everything that happened. You only remember the feeling. That's dreams. And that's a lot of sightings after time goes by. Clip that. And personal experience, the feelings. Those, you remember the feeling, just like in a dream. People who have abduction that are not friendly, they have fear. They have terror. I want to reiterate something that happened to me. This is the feeling, abduction, okay? I was working as a security guard in this fancy hospital. This is so cool. Me and the X-ray tech manager had made friends with each other through ufology. We were interested in a lot of the same stuff. And we were standing by the front desk, me and him talking. We're in our own little world. We're not really being loud. It's a hospital. But we're not being like, oh, did you hear about the UFO? Did you see that thing the other night? No, we weren't doing that, okay? We were just talking. We were talking about ships at the time. We're talking about just the ships like Tic Tac and Flying Saucer and Horseshoe Shaped, etc., you know? And we look over, and this girl at the reception desk is having a panic attack. And I look over, and I don't know if I'm just seeing this girl in distress. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, just stop talking about it. She's like, you know, like a panic attack, 100%. Some kind of traumatic event is going through in her head. She hears us talking about flying saucers, and she's having a panic attack and crying and shaking. Her makeup is running, all of that. I am like, are you okay? Yeah, just stop talking about it. And she tries to shake it off with nervous laughter. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop talking about it. And I walked away. She still got me written up. Whatever. Okay. I stayed at that job for a year, and I finally forgave her for it. It wasn't up to me to stay angry at something that happened to her, because that was a classic sign of abduction, and not a pleasant abduction. She had a traumatic terror thought memory about being abducted while we were talking about UFOs. It sparked a PTSD something in her head, and she relived it on some level. Clip that. That was the experience, the emotional side of remembering. She didn't have any conscious memory. She couldn't remember what happened to her, but she can remember how it made her feel. And it came from somewhere. She started feeling that somewhere. And we were talking about UFOs when it happened. She was an abductee, and it wasn't a pleasant one. Okay. So that's some personal experience. I would that I relayed my personal experience of encountering her. She had her personal experience, and it was not pleasant. And I told my friend, and he couldn't understand why. He doesn't look at it that he didn't look at it the same way. He was looking at it from a point of view of technology, and talking to a fellow technology person, because he's an X-ray tech, right? He was also a lot of other things, but that was his job at the hospital. Okay, now last part of last part. What can we do if they're here and been here? What have we been doing? Really, we've been treating the contactees like nut jobs and crazy people, and they need mental help. Some of them do, some of them don't. Okay, I don't. I have had my head examined twice since this stuff started happening. I am cognitively functional, right? And we're gonna have to learn to live together. But it seems like we already are, you know? So, what would the acceptance look like? Well, like I said before, I don't think most of us are ready for this. I don't think disclosure can come from the government. I don't think they can have it. It has to come from them to us. They can't say anything, and they're under some kind of guideline not to interfere with our development. Clip that. And I just don't think that we're ready for disclosure yet as a society. There's a bunch of them still think it's demons. Some of them, because they're scared, they think, oh, scary, it's a demon. Not necessarily. What's up, Rue Riders? Oh, yeah. Well, quantum level is peaking. I'm about to wrap up the first hour, but I got a few things to say yet, because I've got this much. That's a reference document, and I kind of wrote it twice. Okay. The governments, I just covered that. They're not going to disclose to us. We're going to get more Lou Elizondos, more Grushes, more Dog and Pony Show. They're going to sell more books, have more conferences, sell T-shirts and toys. I will buy those T-shirts and toys. Hook me up, right? Now, okay, there are come up with ethical considerations of sovereignty and boundaries. I think they're pretty. We're not going to go inside a mountain on a different vibration. Boundary set, no problem. We're not going to go underwater under 6,000 feet. Boundaries accepted. And communication, well, we're going to have to specialize in that, because it takes almost all your brain, and you can't distract yourself. You have to be in a certain mind frame to be able to talk to them. I've done it. It's right. Have to remove the fear. That's not going to happen. We're going to have to stop being paranoid. We are scared of each other. That's not going to happen, right? And let's see. I'm sorry I'm not looking at the chat. I have to focus on this because I want to get this out here, right? We should observe, drink mushroom coffee, do things to alter your perception. Either regular coffee, mushroom coffee, DMT, whatever. Whatever, do something, okay? Because that will change your frequency and that will tune you into something else. You might start seeing gnomes. They're there. You might start seeing things fly past your window that are not birds. They're there too. You might see somebody looking in your window. Okay. So, yeah, this is the end of the show. And we are the ones that are out of contact with reality. We are the ones that are, la, 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 I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. That's what we're doing, right? They're always there. We're doing our thing in spite of them. But it's not really that we're doing anything that interferes with them either, except maybe nuclear blasts. They don't like that. It seems to carry across realities or frequencies. So, yeah. What are these last points on here? So, do something to change your perception. Either lots of coffee, whatever it may be, and we will be able to talk to people that we've never talked to before. And that seems very attractive to me. I like that option. I want to meet more people. And if it's easier than having to go somewhere, if I can do it from right here, and I have, and it's doable, I will do that. And other people will like that too. So, here but not here covered very, very deeply. Yeah, I had it rewrite the phase state physics, right? The here but not here co-located phase shifted existence. Here we go. Co-located but phase shifted existence means they occupy the same physical space as we do, but not the state, frequency, or phase of reality. Here but not here. Clip that. This is cool. Now, phase state physics, a scientific analogy. Think of two radio stations broadcasting in the same room. You don't hear both at the same time. Two laser beams crossing without interacting. They don't shadow each other, scatter each other. They go about their merry way. Quantum states that occupy the same space but don't interfere. That's a tricky one. In this analogy, aliens aren't from another dimension. They're from a different phase of the same space-time, like a parallel universe, parallel reality. Shifted quantum vacuum state, a region of space-time with different symmetry. Ooh. This is why interdimensional is a misnomer. It's not another dimension. It's another configuration of this one. Clip that. I hope I got that right. So, y'all, I'm going to wrap up the first hour. Those are the residents, the people who live here. They want to study us. Some want to study us. Some want to abduct us. Some want to breed us with them or with ourselves. We don't know, because we are the ones they don't want to get eaten by. We're the apex predators. They can come here, but they're weak. We can go there, but we're weak over there. So yeah, some want to study us. Some want to help us, but they have rules and guidelines they have to go by. I think of the Federation, the consortium. I think they're the same thing, interpreted differently by different people. I think they all have the same kind of charter rule set to non-interfere, because we need to develop to the state of advancement that we once were at with Göbekli Tepe. because we had Stone Age spaceships. You're not going to count me. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Like, share, subscribe. If you're here, you're Quantum. That is the Quantum Show. The Visitors Revisited. The Residents Revisited. I'm going to get the panel ready. It has been 1 hour. I think it's been a pretty good show. Hit like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Agents, aliens, and AI. Like, subscribe. You know you're here. Thank you, Aussie. Thanks, Rachel, Renee, Aussie, Scream Engine, Diane Boss. Let's see, DJ Wardove, Woo Riders, Ravens Rabbit Hole. And yeah, that's I believe that's everybody that is still present. So thank you, everybody. I will be in the panel shortly. 20, 30 minutes. You know the deal. Okay. Keeping it quantum, pushing buttons. Thanks, everybody. Pushing buttons, pushing buttons.